my Lord and my God. I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. While the chances are high that the young ones in your household will forbid you from ever listening to 10 Minutes with Jesus again, this particular meditation will probably ruin their summer. The topic: smartphones. Jesus, you passionately want us to be happy, to be filled to overflowing with your peace. At the same time, you want us to share in your role as Good Shepherd, protecting our young ones. Our beloved Pope Leo XIV did not waste any time in his pontificate putting his finger in the wound. He said just days ago, think of the isolation caused by widespread relational models, increasingly marked by superficiality, individualism, and emotional instability, of the dominance of lifestyles and rhythms in which there is not enough space for listening, reflection, and dialogue, in school, in the family, sometimes even among peers, with the resulting loneliness. Jonathan Haidt, a professor at New York University, has been getting a lot of attention lately, in part due to his 2024 book, The Anxious Generation. He recently gave a lecture at Princeton University examining the huge transformation that is taking place in the minds of our young ones, as well as those not so young. Childhood has been transformed from what Professor Haidt calls play-based childhood to phone-based childhood. From 2010 to 2015, phone-based childhood stormed in with the onset of the iPhone, Instagram, front-facing camera, and high-speed internet. The impact on the young has been astounding. A 2024 survey of teens ages 13 to 17 found that half said they were online almost constantly. There is damage in a number of areas. In the first place, mental illness. Preteen girls have been the most impacted. The number of girls ages 10 to 14 admitted to hospitals for non-fatal self-harm has grown. Since 2010, there has been a 188% increase. Suicide, all of a sudden in 2013, a 67% increase in girls. By 2020, the increase has been 134% since 2010. Why all this devastation? Professor Haidt blames it on the birth of phone-based childhood, starting from 2010 to 2015. Childhood has become screen-based and thus largely solitary. Daily average time spent with friends plummets starting in 2013. Professor Haidt points to 4 foundational harms, all caused by the phone-based childhood. There is social deprivation. Since 2010, time spent with friends is down by 65%. Sleep deprivation, obvious. Attention fragmentation, that is, the inability to stay on task. This is really serious. The professor tells that in his years teaching, in the old days, pre-2015, giving a 75-minute class, there might have been 1 or 2 students who would get up to go to the restroom. Nowadays, he says there's a constant stream. And he asked them one day, is it because you have a gallon of water at your feet and you're constantly drinking? And one student said, no. It's because after 15 minutes, my brain can't take focusing. I have to get up. I don't go to the restroom. I walk around because I can't take it. And finally, another fourth foundational harm, behavioral addiction, compulsive usage. As if that were not enough, there are additional harms to girls. There is visual social comparison. Instagram is the worst. The girls are induced to perfectionism, relational aggression. And finally, girls are more subject to bullying, sexual predation, and harassment. He also points to the loss of boys and men. Males have been retreating from the real world since the 1970s. And that is because the virtual world calls out to them irresistibly. Multiplayer video games have become amazing, isolating, and addictive. The percentage of men aged 25 to 34 still living at home, at their parents' house, starts going up in the year 2000. It is now over 20%. Why is that? In many cases, he says, because they take themselves out of the game of life. They end up unemployed, living in the basement, addicted to games. We are losing our men to porn addiction, the loss of drive and skill to talk to girls, warping of ideas about girls, women, and sex, loss of ambition, of creativity. So what do we do? Professor Haidt suggests 4 norms. In the first place, no smartphones before high school or age 14. Number 2, no social media before 16. As he explains, social media is wildly inappropriate for minors. An ideal minimum age would be 18, but 16 is realistic. Norm number 3, maybe the most important, phone-free schools. He says that it is only when students are given the full 6 or 7 hours of the school day away from their phones that we hear this universal report from teachers and principals. That is, we finally again hear laughter in the hallways. And finally, more independence, free play, and responsibility in the real world. Children need vast quantities of free play, outdoors, independence, and responsibility to guide their brain development and social development. Being a kid is about the fun, risk, challenges, and thrills of exploring the richness of life with friends at their side and no parents in sight. Whereas these days, so many kids just stay indoors on the screen, or even if they are outdoors, they're still on the screen. He points out, we ask the question, how many Gen Z people do you see showing up at school wearing a cast and asking their friends to sign the cast? None, because they don't take risks, they don't play, they just stay on their screen. But all of this is not just about the younger generations. The phone-based life that afflicts all of us threatens to diminish our humanity. It degrades us morally, spiritually, socially, and cognitively. There was recently a cartoon showing 2 young moms pushing their respective baby stroller. And in the cartoon you see one infant turning to the other saying, "I worry about my mom's screen time, but it's the only thing that seems to soothe her." All of us are threatened by what one person calls the loss of interstitial time. Just think of the many bits of time scattered throughout the day, such as the 5 minutes between activities, waiting for an elevator, or stopped at a red light. Or these days, picture right near a school, a long line of cars waiting for their little one to come out, and every single person in that car on his or her phone. no interaction with anybody else in that long line. Well, those moments, that interstitial time, used to be given over to silent reflection or conversation with another person. Now, people instinctively reach for their phones. Well, Jesus, give us the strength, the fortitude to guide our young ones. Help us, in the first place, to resist the call of the screen. We want to protect the physical, mental, and moral health of all those you have placed at our side. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help in putting them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.